A very good afternoon to you, our viewers. You're welcome to another beautiful episode of your show, The Roundtable. On this program, we discuss happenings eating up the polity of Nigeria, and we bring it to you exactly as it is hot. My name is Shegun Dwayo. Usually, we have two analysts with us in the house, and it's going to be same today. To my right, I have one of our deputy editors here at the Punch, Mr. Adekunle Aliu. Is now fast becoming a regular. This is our, I think it's fourth or fifth time on the show. Fourth, okay. And we have a man who's back from Atos, Daniel Ayotwe, the man from the streets, the man on the streets.
Thank you so
Always
much.
giving you the reports exactly how it is happening on the streets. It feels good to have you again.
Nice to
All right,
have you.
very quickly, you know how we do it on this program, and in case you don't, and you are a first-time viewer, you're welcome. We talk about three major topics that are eating up the polity and what matter best to start with this cold and wet Thursday afternoon. The Labour, yes, organized Labour will be meeting with the president on this topic that has dragged on for many weeks and many months. It has been on and on and on. Now, the president will be meeting with organized Labour concerning the issue of minimum wage that has led to all manner of things in the country. There was a strike, total shutdown of everything in this country. Airports were almost virtually locked down. Electricity was put off. There was virtually no electricity anywhere in Nigeria. And it had been on and on and on. On the 12th of June 2024, June 12th, Democracy Day, the president came up to say, hey, I'm sending the new minimum wage bill to the Assembly, and to the National Assembly, beg your pardon, and the National Assembly was going to sign it, and obviously, you know, that becomes law. But on the 25th of June, the Federal Executive Council meeting decided that we are going to be stepping down this matter for further consultation. And then there was another meeting this time around, Labour, private sector, and organized Labour met. Same dispute. Some persons wanted this amount, this other group wanted this amount, and the other group wanted a very different amount altogether. I remember that Labour have said they are asking for 250,000 naira minimum wage, although they've equally said we are ready to deliberate, we are ready for, to meet in the middle. And this day, today, 11th of June, almost exactly 1 month after the president came out to tell Nigerians to calm down and relax, and that something was being done about the minimum wage, a meeting is still going to be ongoing, and then we don't even know when anything positive is going to come out of this. But we are hopeful that something good will probably come out of the meeting. Daniel, and also, let's start with you. You know, this matter has been on, except anybody who is a visitor in Nigeria that probably won't know what's going on. But this matter has been on and on and on and on, no ending as of July 11th, 2024. But the president is meeting with Labour. What should we expect?
Thank you, Shegun. Of course, like you rightly said, this matter has been on for a very long time now, and it's no longer news, of course, that whatsoever Nigerians, workers specifically, are looking out for out there is to have the 250,000 naira as minimum wage, because of course we are all aware, we are all in the streets, we know how things are difficult for the ordinary man. Things is very difficult for people out there, especially when you look at the situation of the increase in price of commodities. So the expectation is that, of course, they will come to a middle ground. Yes, the federal government is on the position that 250,000 naira is not realistic. The way the things are, the economic situation of the country, of course, looking at whatever income, we all know that the government is on loan year all the time. They always seek for one loan or the other, and that is one concern that the federal government they are looking at. That 250,000 naira is not realistic.
Massive.
Yes, of course. And a lot of economists have also seen in that aspect that this is not realistic. But of course, on the other hand, we have the federal government looking at aspect of having not more than 100,000 and all that. So. Yeah. But again, the labor union is saying 100,000 naira is nothing to write home about. If you look at the situation of things on ground, a bag of rice is now over 80,000 naira. And the situation, of course, if someone has to buy a bag of rice in a month, of course, you know that will not be enough. So I think and I believe what we should be expecting is that we should be having a middle ground between these two persons, the federal government and the labor. We should have a middle ground to say, okay, yes, we are not paying 100, but we are going to pay at least looking at an average of maybe 150,000 thereabouts or 200 if, of course, something to negotiate with. But and of course, I know too that the labor will not yes, they have said they will insist 250, but meeting with the president himself, and in fact, I commend the president for taking that step to say, yes, of course, the people have sent to you, they have not given me the results that I'm expecting, and here I am doing myself. And this is something I think we should commend the president for.
Is it not coming too late? Is it not coming too late?
I don't think it's coming too late.
The consequences of these policies have been biting on the people for over a year. Is it not coming too late?
Yes, I don't think it's coming too late because, of course, the president has delegated the duties to some persons he believed at that time they would be able to negotiate and labor with citizens with them. But from the situation at hand, the president have seen that, of course, the thing is the issue is not being resolved as expected. But one area, of course, which what he has done now would be a kind of a solution to, is the fact that they could not discuss it at the federal executive meeting. And we know, on the other hand, the states, they are saying, well, this is not an affair. So it's a concern.
Now, very quickly now, Mr. Liu. You know, the states came out, joint signatures. I mean, for the state governments, state governors came out to say, hey, we can't pay 62,000 naira. And then we begin to ask ourselves, when fuel subsidy was removed last year by the Bola Ahmed Tinubu presidency, they said it was because they wanted monies to be allocated to state governors so that they could build infrastructure. In fact, 10 states in Nigeria, over 10 states in Nigeria have excess of 50% increment of their federal allocation, monthly federal allocation coming to them. 12 states have over 40% of their usual allocation under Buhari. So now, the question is, why are these governors coming out to say they cannot pay these monies when, in actual terms, we cannot exactly see where these monies have been spent on any infrastructure or any unusual infrastructure in the last 1 year plus?
If I'm going to hold a brief for the governors, I'll tell you that, look, they want more infrastructure, they want to build infrastructure, they want to do this, they want to do that, and there's no money. But having said that, the more money you have in your kitchen, the more you also have room to embezzle. Now, this is the problem that I see with the governors, not being able to calculate appropriately what is happening. Look at what is happening to the people. Look at their economy. Yes, I know that each state will have to decide what is going to pay in the long run or how it's going to pay when it comes to minimum wage. But be realistic with the things on ground. There's inflation, the economy is biting hard. So what is the parameter that you're going to use to determine your own salary for your own workers? Look at it very, because if you don't pay well, they said, pay peanuts, get monkeys. So if you don't pay well, you won't get good people to work in the civil service. You want good work, pay your servants well. So let them go back again and look at the drawing board. Look at the economic indices, not just come and say we can't pay 62,000 naira. 6,000 naira as minimum wage today will not do anything. Will it buy you a bag of rice for a month for a poor family? A bag of rice for even a man and his wife and a kid is not enough in a month. So that's not what they will eat. School fees are going to go up, or they are already going up. I know of somebody who said he's going to withdraw his kids from school because
many people are changing school in September.
So what are you going to do?
Many.
How are you going to? For me, the governor should sit down and look at it critically. Don't just come and just yap and just say you can't pay this. Go back and look at it critically. You are buying. Look at most of the palliative they are even giving now. How many palliative do you think you can give to somebody who is struggling with 30,000 naira in a month? You give him a 25 kilogram of bag of rice or bag of rice. How many days would that last him? Would it be like 16 days or 20 days? They don't know. They're just doing this thing haphazardly, and that's my problem. They should look at it critically. Work with the economists. Say, what is the appropriate price? Let's give ourselves a good minimum wage template that would benefit everybody. I know it's cumbersome, it's difficult to decide, but you just have to do the work to get it right.
Very quickly now, I move to you, Daniel. What is a living minimum wage?
You see. Well, let me start from saying from what my senior colleague has just mentioned. The fact, if you are looking for the people that have withdrawn their children, well, I'm one of them. I've looked at yes, of course. No, that's just the truth. Because if you consider what is currently happening and you don't restructure your family, you get into problems. your family finances, you will get into a problem. So one thing is, okay, a minimum wage should be enough to cater for the family. The welfare, the primary things any family needs is food,
Shelter.
okay, and shelter.
Education.
Food, shelter,
Education.
then come education and all the rest of that. You understand? But when you can't even feed, not to talk of to think of shelter. I can't remember when I go out and buy shirts.
A tuber of yam. You say shit? A tuber of yam.
I'm even not even
How
talking
much
about
is
the
a tuber of
food.
yam today?
Yes.
A 30,000 minimum wage. You buy you how many tubers of yam?
At least
for a month
at a point,
of
we
family
still
of
have a
four.
way of buying the food, little managing the food and all that. Now, you want to extend and do fine boy? You want to say you want to go and get shirts? I can't remember when I did that last.
Fine boy.
Not with this.
So because yes, not with this. So a minimum wage should be able to cater for that.
So
yeah.
what is that price? What are we talking about? How much?
How much, my brother? As the situation is concerned now, I don't think they should talk about anything less than 200,000
for minimum wage.
Yes, they shouldn't, because you have somebody. We are talking about the least person in the employment sector.
Yes.
Which you are talking about when you are looking at the gardener, the cleaner, and all the rest. I didn't know human beings. They have children. Now, don't forget that some of these people have even more children than the educated.
6, 4.
Say 7. I've seen people 10. We see them online every day. They have more children than even the person that is educated. If you are educated, you know that yes, you will do family planning and have about 2 kids and 3 kids there. But these people have 6 kids. Now, don't forget, if you don't cater for these people as a minimum wage, those kids, if they don't have enough food to grow up, they will not have a good thinking faculty to be able to operate. These are the people that will come back to you to become problem to the society, to become criminals in the society. And you have problem in your hand and begin to have issues of insecurity later in the future. So cater for them today so that you don't have those challenges. Now ask yourself, or let's ask ourselves, these persons, the governors, because I'm so disappointed why a governor will be saying, I can't pay minimum wage. You know the loop areas in the state. What is infrastructure? Is it not somebody that is alive that will use those infrastructure? Is it not when there is food that they will use those infrastructure?
That's a new
That's very funny. You are building, yes, we need infrastructure. But first, food. Cater for them. How much is the governor earning? What job are they doing? How much is those lawmakers that will sit in the House of Assembly and be talking, making deliberations, just they are making law for a dead people or people that are alive? How much are they earning? Now, we are talking about people that are suffering in the street, the workers that need this money to cater. When there's money, enough money in the society, then you will be able to say, yes, you are having a society free of insecurity. Right. But when you don't have, then they become issue. So, very important, the governors should look for a way to pay the minimum. In fact, there should be a law. After the president assent to the new minimum wage, there should be a law that would ensure and mandate the state to pay the minimum wage, so that there won't be any situation. Yes, they have their different economic situation in the state, of course, and they will have to deliberate how much are we going to pay and all that. But let's not forget, and there should be a target. Whatsoever amounts that they are going to deliberate or decide on should not be less than the minimum wage. That is the law, and once the law has stated that, that should be final.
Beautiful. All right, very quickly, because the issue has always been that how do we get the states to pay? A good example is Zamfara. Zamfara was paying 18,000 naira just before as minimum wage up until less than 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Before they increased to 30. Interestingly, we've seen that some states are saying, some governors keep saying every single time they have the opportunity to say it, that they cannot afford it. These people's monies have jumped by 50%. And it's not 200,000 naira that is jumping to 300,000. What is jumping is billions, jumping to further billions. And then the infrastructure itself is in a state of comatose, if I'm permitted to say such. I mean, states like Ogun State dwellers were still complaining on social media the other day, and that was what made their governor go to that particular place. So if there's no, how he has said there should be a law to enforce. Now, let's talk about the private sector. Private sector will definitely not be on the same level with the government. Many persons right now don't even earn minimum wage. Up till now, minimum wage is that guy that is doing POS beside the road. Pay a minimum wage. What is minimum wage? 30,000.
It's not possible.
That boy that is opening shop for his Oga, pay him 30,000 naira.
It's not possible.
So how do we inculcate the private sector?
But the private sector will have to look at their own purses too. They have to look at their pockets. What I mean by that is what you earn is what you will pay. So how are you going to measure? There's another yardstick entirely. After government has said, okay, so amount will be the minimum wage. The union of each of those firms will also go back and begin to deliberate again with their management. They will now begin to look at, okay, this is what we earn, this is what we're going to pay. It may not come. I can't guarantee you that the private sector will take it hook, sink, and liner and follow suit. I can't guarantee. It had to go back again to the table of deliberation. The moment the federal government concludes its own, you will see union of each companies or firm going with the management to start discussion. And those management will bring their accounts out, and you cannot tie them down because it's about maximizing profit for the entrepreneur. Now, having done that, he will also look at how to get his staff to work for him well. Now, is he going to pay appropriately to run out, or is he going to sack? They will look at variables. The union will sit down and they will discuss. Some of these people will also say, okay, if you can't pay us now, we'll give you leeway of 6 months to prepare yourself, go and look for money, or look for how to manage the thing. You cannot force the private sector. But those that can afford it, Shell, Chevron, the banks, they've already increased their own. Even before government is calling crying. Some companies have started paying some wage awards and so on and so forth. They are paying some kind of palliative for their staff, waiting for the federal government decision. So, but I think we can't force the private sector because it's what they earn. That they would go. It's the profit that determines how. So
I beg to differ a bit. In the sense that I think one area we can also implement is that we know that this private sector, they're in various categories. We have the nano business, we have the SMEs and MSMEs and all that. Now, I think what can be done is not to let it loose. We can't force them. Yes, you are correct, sir.
There should be a law.
But there should be a law not to let them loose. I know why I'm saying this is very important is that, of course, according to what they say, when there is no law, there's no sin. Now, there should be a law as far as minimum wage for private sector is concerned, depending on the level of your business and how many your staffing capacity is. The way we have that same procedures to determine the recapitalization process for banks, we should have that same position in the area of minimum wage. If we have some of these banks and we say some of these establishments and we look at them, what is your level? The federal government will now peg specific MSMEs. If you're within this level, this should be your minimum wage. SMEs, if this is your level, this should be the minimum wage. Why the nano business, if this is your level, this should be the minimum
Why you are saying all this, if you don't look at the economic implication of some of these things, you will, if you look at the economic implication, right, you will still see it will bring about inflation. Remember the Odoji in the past? That was the beginning of our inflation. More money, chasing fewer goods. So it's an economic area you have to look holistically before you take that decision. And that's why the government is meeting with Labour again today. And I'm sure if I am the president, I'm going to put all my cards on the table for the Labourers to see. See, this is where I want to go, this is where I don't want to go.
All right. This topic is actually going to be very, we have to exhaust the topic, but sometimes, we never can get to the end of it because sometimes there's no end because it's still ongoing. We can only hope that both parties, especially the Labour, go into that meeting fully aware of what is happening. I do hope that they listen to the president, but they do not get cajoled. Because, people say politicians are bad people from afar. At the moment, you just need 2-3 days for an individual to move in the convoy of a governor or a president or anybody, and then I'm such a brilliant man. The people get swayed easily when politicians, when they come very close to politicians, and the opinion they will have about that politician years after will be because, I can say that person is a good man. I met him in 1984. He will use the experience of 1984 to judge the situation. So this is a different ball game. They have to be holistic. They have to, I am sure they've done their research. They understand the way the issue is biting on the people. Some persons have said perhaps they should go with a smaller deal in the sense that they say, okay, we don't mind giving us 80K, 90K, but perhaps you open the borders. Some people say, yes, give us 80K, 90K. You have food markets. Look at what happened. The Senate have come out to say now that there is no food bank. Oh my goodness. We just have to leave this topic now because
before you raise that issue.
So many issues.
So many hydra-headed situations.
The Senate is coming to tell us
so
now
many
that there's no
issues
food
in the bank.
So there's no food.
There's no food.
So Very quickly,
I
move
wonder
on
where
to
they
the
are getting the stability from.
Welcome
If
to
you ask me,
Africa.
we don't have a food bank.
Very quickly, move on to the next topic. And it came to Nigerians as a surprise that the federal government was suing state governments. What happened? The AGF, Attorney General Federation, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, took state governors to court and said they do not have the right to withhold monies, allocated monies for the local government. Also, that they do not have the right to just come on board and sack any local government chairman. This is Nigeria. It is not news that many governors come on board and then they say, chairman, you are out. Because these are elected persons. These are persons that have been elected by the people the same way the governors were elected and the same way the presidents and senators were equally elected. Although many persons have come out to say that the least credible elections in Nigeria are the local government elections, because it's the state governors that constitute the CX, the state independent electoral committees. You just have LASEC for Lagos, OG, and all that. And that many times we've seen pictures of some of these CX chairmen having good times with governors. The latest one is the one that is trending this afternoon of the current Osun State CX chairman who actually contested under the PDP to be a member of the House of Assembly. So many people like this have come into play. Persons who are having a tete-a-tete with governors, pictures and videos, and then you make this person's chairman of the electoral committee. I think you already know the election results even before the people go to the polls. So many people have come out to say, some persons who were against that came out to say they didn't really like that. But regardless of the situation, the federal government went to court, took the state governors to court, and as at this morning, they won at the Supreme Court. And you know when you win at the Supreme Court, the case is out of human hands. You just take it up. And so it means that now, hopefully it starts from next month, when the next money is being disbursed, that the states will have their own in their purse, the various states, and then local government, 724, will equally have their own monies in their purse. Now it means that financially, the government is becoming closer to the people. Now some people have said, what does this mean? Does this mean further corruption at the bottom, or does it mean that more people will have access to their local government chairman? Many persons out there, including you, our viewer, I'm so sure if we ask about 15 of you and we do a small survey, at least 10 to 12 persons will most likely not know the names of their chairman. But out of those 12 persons, at least 10 should be able to know the name of their state governors. Very quickly, I'll begin with you now. Mr. Dikunle, good or bad? The federal government has won their case at the Supreme Court. Is this going to be a good thing going forward, or do you think some things negative will come out of it?
Why did we have the situation before now?
Did you obey the law?
As much as they didn't obey the law, you discover that before now there had been corruption too at the local government level. Money allocated for some of these chairmen. Take for instance, the primary schools were under local government before now.
But we had corruption at state level.
So corruption at that level.
Even at state level.
Corruption at that level made them to take away primary school from local government and take it to state level.
Yeah.
Now, so then you see teachers being owed 12 months, 13 months, 15 months salary. Now, if things are done well, the local government is the closest to the people, according to us. But again, to me, everybody's close to anybody. Just do the right thing. Do the right thing. If they do the right thing, it will work. It's because we are not doing the right thing. If the local government chairman spend the fund appropriately, it will work. But now, if we don't do it appropriately, we'll still go back to the same horse. We'll still ride on the same bad horse. But if they do it well, beautiful. Local government, get your funds, spend it appropriately as you're supposed to. Do the road you're supposed to do. Not substandard roads. Do them appropriately. Do them well. It will be easy. Not just grading.
That's what they do. They just pour it sand.
Take for instance, Lagos state government that was receiving the allocation fully and spending it well, in a way, in quote, tried. The other day I learned one state governor issued money for Salah, and then the local government staff, these local government people there diverted the money and did not pay to the appropriate staff that was supposed to have that Salah bonus. What are we saying? There are some stories of people in the north where they don't go to the office and their local government staff, but every month they get their salary.
Of course.
Some I've heard of a case, I read of a case of somebody who was working for Nigeria in the local government, and he was also working for the country at the border, the Niger. And I asked myself, what's all this? But if we do things right, we don't do things right. Like, even if you take the whole government and leave it at the federal government and there's no state governor, if people, directors, state directors, you have directors who direct it, if they work well, you achieve good things. But if they don't, you won't achieve anything. If you give my family, say, okay, give my family governorship title for my own compound, and you pay what's right and we do it well, we'll do it. If you give us the money and we spend it wrongly, nobody will benefit. So if we do things appropriately, right, as in put things in the right perspective. What is this money meant for? It's meant for the running of the local government. It's meant for the development of the local government. It's meant for the growth of the local government. And we do it right. It will work. But if we don't, they will go back to the Supreme Court again at that time.
Over to you now, Daniel. Good or bad move? I mean, is it worth celebrating or is just catastrophe waiting to happen?
Yeah, I think this is a good in terms of the results. I think this is a positive step by the federal government to, in fact, have that initiative to say yes, there is a need to have a court order to ensure that we no longer pay to state governors. It's like saying that the salary of my wife in our office is paid to me, and I will now decide how I'm going to give my wife the money that is due that is due to her.
I like this example.
You can imagine how it will be, because I'm the husband. I will decide that, okay, my dear, don't worry, you have 50% of the money that have been sent to me from your office. And so that again becomes a problem in the home. You begin to have issues there. Someday I will decide that, well, I don't want just one wife, I need two wives because I have enough money now. So, well, having given that illustration, very important that it's a good step that the federal government has taken. They have made every step to ensure, and the Supreme Court has done wonderfully well by deciding and saying, yes, the states should no longer take custody of whatsoever finances or money funds that is coming for the local government. And again, this is also another call to the local government, because this is very important that local government now begin to sit up. We have issues and they have a process to settle it. We have the fund now. But again, this also calls for the fact that the state now begin to work more on the anti-corruption fight. In the essence that any state that does not have an anti-corruption agency should begin to do that now. And of course, it gives them the task to say, yes, there is going to be a thorough investigation and audit of local and state accounts and the process. That should also be enacted to ensure that we guide against the aspect of corruption. Take, for example, the example of the Salah issue. If the information did not get out there, nobody will know anything. And of course, it's very important that that is done. Then the state governments, I'm sorry, I want to add this, very important. The local government, we need to now also have, the federal government has another task, and that is the task to ensure that the Supreme Court rule that no state governor should appoint a TIC.
No, there's no.
Yes,
yes. That there's no, what's it called now? Removal cannot be done.
Yes,
and they can also, there's no standing chairman.
Because the implication is that the implication is that even if the fund is going to them directly and it gets to the local government, if it's a TIC, an appointee that is there, you can take the fund and submit to the father. So I think that would be beautiful, so that to have a total independent of local government, so that we don't have such situations.
While we think we are, removing the trees from some falling trees, more trees are falling. Because now the question is, like we said earlier, what can perhaps make this more robust is when the Independent National Electoral Commission itself, which is INEC, the federal body, is the one conducting these elections. And that will mean more budget needed for INEC, because, of course, they need more funds. But if we are still using the system that we are using at the moment, where the electoral bodies created by these governors will be the one conducting the elections, it only means that when a new, especially for some of these states where the old elections, when it is not election time, like mid-year elections or Shun and the likes, although maybe a new party comes on board, it only means that you cannot remove the people who are there from the ruling, from that former ruling party. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. So if it remains a situation whereby the same party at the state level is the one conducting these elections, and then new people come in under the same party, and then they say, okay, you guys are new chairman, this is the rule, you submit so amount to me, you know, and then they are still doing the old way in a new form. How can we stop this?
I think we should all just be truthful to ourselves. Be sincere. You are given a duty to perform. Perform the duty to the people. Do it right. If INEC or state electoral body, anybody, it could even be you are going to be the chairman, you are contestant, it's your brother asking to conduct the election. If he's doing it right, no problem. But it's that where we begin to interfere, we begin to put things before the horse before the cat, or the cat after the horse. That's where we have issues. Anybody that has a position, you have a duty to do for this country, do it right. If you say INEC should conduct the whole election, if INEC is not truthful, what happens? If the person they rec that is going to conduct the election is going to be like the one that the professor that went with money in the north, that council won the election, life like that. That's what I'm saying. But if anybody, you are given a duty, if it's INEC, if it's state sec, you are given it, do it right. If you have issues, it's just that when the governors begin to interfere, do you think the governors cannot interfere with INEC? Many of them are interfering already. So it depends. All I'm saying is you get a duty to conduct an election. Try and do it right. Do it appropriately. Conduct the election. Let all of us set ourselves up. You are contesting. Contest right. Don't begin to look for means to subvert the election or to interfere in the process. Do it well.
Right.
Anybody can do it, that's what I'm saying. But the person should be sincere to himself. INEC can do it right. State sec can do it right. If they are truthful to themselves. But if you remove that, and we will wreck it, we will wreck the vote.
Okay, now quick one. Was the president or was the federal government interested in this because the current president, was a victim while he was a sitting governor? Do you think there was this hype for this to be done because somehow the president, while he was governor, was dealt with using his funds being seized under the Obasanjo tenure? Perhaps if those monies were paid directly to the local government, they wouldn't be dealing with the governor by seizing local government funds. Can we look at some of these things and say perhaps this is why this is happening?
Pardon me, before I come to that, I would like to add voice to what my senior colleague has said about the INEC structure and the SEC, because it's also, I think I'm wrapping my head around the fact that how do we get the appointment of the INEC chairman in the first place? In INEC itself, not even the state now. How do they come about?
It's appointed.
Yes, it's appointed. So I think what we need to change is the structure of having the INEC chairman. I can't be a president and appoint a chairman that will sack me from office. We can't say about that of Jonathan. Yes.
No.
You say that.
No.
That is the beauty of it.
It was
he didn't sack him. It was the Nigerian people.
Yes, this is now.
It's presumed.
Yes, it is presumed that. Yes.
But
see, hold on. I want you to just see a picture of this.
Okay.
Now,
you paint the scenario.
Yes. The scenario is okay. Having the structure changed, like I was saying, was that the president or the governor should not be the one that will appoint the chairman.
If he does, he has nothing wrong. If they are truthful to the fact, if they are sincere to themselves, that look, this is your duty. Do it right.
The powers
I'm going to do mine right.
Electing the INEC chairman lies with the
President. Yes.
Just as the powers of appointing the state chairman or the electoral body, lies with the government.
And that is why they can control them. And that is where we are having the issues. That is why they can control them. What we need to think is, what should we change so that the governor does not have that power to control the the chairman, the INEC chairman, or the State Electoral Commission chairman? Because that is why you will have an election in a state that is called a local government election, and the major party, which is the governor's party in the state, will clear all the local governments. And cancel us. So where is it done?
Except for one or two.
No. So that's the only way. And the only way to make that changes is to now look for a structure to bring in where that control.
If you bring a structure and the people are still the same, you bring
a chairman. The governor is not the one appointing, the president is not the one appointing, and the president comes on board and
they give him bag of money.
Come on board. Come. This is problem. This is success. This is money. This is problem. Choose one. You know, so discussions they can't really out of the politics. It's not possible. Politics, according to our last week, like I said last week, is who gets what, when, and how. So somebody wants to get what.
After all, the Labour Party. After all, the Labour Party House of Rep members and Senate members, they are not much in number. APC is much.
Can you
still
vouch
see what
that
we
their
are
hands
having
were not soiled when you were coming?
I didn't say that, sir.
I'm only asking. We can't vouch for them. We need a system whereby we can vouch. So what I'm saying is, we as a people need orientation, need to change. Anytime you get a duty for federal government, for state government, for local government, anytime you're working for the people, work right.
So why the
don't let money, don't let greed be your motive.
We have to move on to the next topic. Time is not our friend on this show. Sometimes, you know, the energy is always busting. But very quickly move to the last topic for the day. And earlier this week, the president, or because it wasn't the president himself, the presidency, the ruling party came out to announce that a new ministry will be brought on board, the Ministry of Livestock Development, meaning that soon, and very soon, a new minister for livestock development will be announced. There will be a new ministry, a new set of cars will be bought, a new office will be created, and you know everything new will be brought on board. And they said their primary duty was to settle the herders, farmers, crisis that has refused to go down. Some of us have done a whole lot when it comes to covering the herder and farmer crisis. Been to some of these villages for ourselves, not one or two, seen a couple of things for ourselves, interviewed dead family members, and a whole lot of things. Quick one. This is a very major matter, Daniel. Very, very major matter. Some of us have been very extensive on this project, so we know it's a major matter. But the question is it major enough to have a new ministry? And that what we have on board at the moment, there's nowhere or no agency or no ministry, the agricultural ministry, you know, a lot of things and that we don't have somewhere we can structure them in, and we have to create something new.
Yes, I followed up with the reports. As soon as I saw the reports, I put a call through to the national president of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, and we spoke at length. We spent some minutes discussing the issue. And one thing he told me was that, come, Daniel, I am not yet sure about this issue of ministry, because, yes, it's a good initiative and welcome development, but we are not sure if the president categorically said the ministry has kicked off. That is what he told me that day when this report came out. Yes. And for me, personally, I think we may be creating a lot of problems for ourselves. At the point where we are looking at cutting down the cost of governance because of the issue of our economy, where we are saying that we can't pay so amount for minimum wage. I say report and saying let's merge some ministries and all that. Why would we be having again to now create a ministry? For God's sake, what is wrong with us? So I think personally, one is not only wrong, it is a misplaced priority, because are we going to say, okay, for instance, the Ministry of Health, can we have a Ministry of what is it called? Cholera. A ministry for cholera, a ministry of HIV, a ministry of...
So there will be no...
What are we saying? When we have Ministry of Agriculture to handle this thing?
We are running out of time. In 1 minute now, your opinion on this matter?
I think it's inefficiency that is making us to break this ministry into two. It's just about that. But again, having said that, there will be more employment, there will be more vehicles bought, there will be more houses building, there will be more people, more contracts to
more jobs will be created.
So, but again, what is the tax? The tax is that they should end farmers, herders, clashes.
Quick question before.
Can they do if they can achieve that? Good for them. But I think it is inefficiency that is working, because
why do we have
Ruga? We've done Ruga.
Quick question for you.
Why do we have security agencies?
We have to go. Quick question. Now you are bringing people in to end the insecurity and the problems you're having with herders and farmers.
Yeah.
Once that ends, that ministry dies. If I am made minister of livestock development and I know this thing ends, I'm out of office, would I want it to end?
That's
Welcome
a
to
question
Africa.
that I won't be able to answer.
All
It
right.
depends on you.
I
If you do it
guess-
sincerely,
I guess-
if you are sincere
Is it
and you
true?
love the
Some people
people,
are
you
saying-
want it
some
to
people are
end.
saying
If you
that,
don't like the people, you like your pocket,
reports have
you
come-
will line your
That
pocket.
means we don't need ministry to resolve such issues.
all right.
So,
That is not a long-term.
inefficiency
problem.
again is happening in this APC government.
I think obviously it shows that the problem is not what is
No,
going on.
I would
I think
thinking.
for me, if you ask me, why is like, okay, let me create a ministry to deal with livestock. There's a lot of things to be done in livestock. Don't let us say about only
But
farmers
the
either scratch.
president
There's a
said-
lot.
oh, sorry.
There is how do you grow this crop? How do you? There's so
But
much.
if the Ministry of Agriculture is well funded
Right.
and empowered,
It's not about funding, it's about efficiency.
Because they are
If they are
funded, we have
well
money now.
efficient, they are supposed to be agric educators in local government, teaching farmers on how to go about. Where are they?
Where are they?
Are they efficiently doing that? They're
Yeah.
supposed to show crops and feed to farmers. Are they doing that? They're supposed to be around us, teaching us,
Right.
look, now the
Yeah.
economies are, these are the crops you should grow, these are the animals you should
This
this
grow.
is how you
these
go
are
about
you
it.
Alright.
Even
Where are
though-
they?
NOA is supposed to be having a live
thank you.
program
It says
about
about
Thank you very much.
inefficiency in a lot of our
Thank
system.
you very much, Mr. Aliu. Mr. Adekunle Aliu, like I said at the beginning of the show, is now becoming a regular, and you can see how regular his energy is in, analyzing some of these issues that we bring to your hearing weekly. A very big thank you to Mr. Daniel Anyotoye as well for coming on board. We've not had his voice, his passionate voice in a while now. Hopefully, it will be a regular once again. I mean, we've missed the good old days. A very big thank you to everyone who has been a part of this production crew. My name is Shegun Dwyer, signing out and saying, stay out of trouble. The weekend begins tomorrow. May you not be weakened by the weekend. It's cold, it's wet, and you know what that means. Flood have been predicted to happen in many of these states in Nigeria. So don't be carried away and don't get into trouble. God bless you.